Hey everybody, I thought we'd take a step away from me constantly complaining about how victims of violent crimes are mistreated by the public and media and get back into a forensic science topic. So let's talk about blood typing. Back in the day, blood typing used to be a big piece of evidence or a major clue before we had modern DNA and genetic profiling and things like that. And in this day and age, we consider it to only be class evidence. So what does that mean? Class evidence is a piece of evidence that's going to point to a group of individuals rather than one specific person. And the reason blood types are class evidence is because there's only 8 major types in the world. And then when you look at the statistical distribution, 85% of the world's population is a positive blood type. And in most countries and regions, the 2 most prominent blood types are A positive and O positive. And then everything else underneath that is a little bit rarer. When we're doing modern blood typing, we're taking something that is known. We know that everyone has a blood type. And I will say there are other blood groups that exist outside of just these 8 types that fall under the ABO-RH category, but those are extremely rare and usually regionally defined or specified. So what am I doing right now? I'm typing this blood. So what I've done is I've taken a random blood sample. This is synthetic blood, otherwise I would be wearing PPE. And now I'm going to use what we also know about blood, that we make antibodies that attack certain blood types. And so then what we do is add antibody serums into each of these little depressions. These depressions are called wells. And then we mix them together and wait to see if a change happens. All right, so what we're seeing here is an antibody red blood cell reaction. We can see a reaction in A, there's no reaction in B, and then there's a reaction in this group called RH. What this is telling us is that the antibody that attacks A antigens is there. The antibody that attacks RH antigens is there. So this person's blood type would be A RH positive, or what we now say is A positive. So if we found this forensically, that would narrow down a group of suspects, and obviously you can take a blood sample and blood type or type their blood, but it really wouldn't mean anything else outside of that. Even if a prime suspect's blood type is the same as the type found at the scene, it's just a small piece of evidence that may lead to more investigation, but otherwise it's just a puzzle piece. The thing I always like to remind my students of is a lot of people that commit crimes are not professional criminals, and they're also not planning on doing it. So often when you do find a piece of evidence like this, if you present it to them, they're going to start to weaken and sometimes admit to what they did. And that's kind of the purpose of these types of investigations. It's not to make anyone look guilty. It's just to follow the science, really, and see what it has to say and figure out if that puzzle piece fits into your big, crazy jigsaw puzzle.